Open your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 41. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Bow your heads with me one more time. God, thank you for this opportunity. Be my words. May you speak your promises of encouragement and assurance to us today. Amen. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
So, listening to the prayer request today and in Sabbath school, there's this sense of fear, these worries, these stresses that not just one person is feeling here, but everybody that I've talked to today has this burden, this overwhelming pressure that we're feeling. And I know for me, when I start thinking about it, when I start reflecting on what's going in the world, it's overwhelming, it's consuming. When I think about the school violence that we had this week, like it makes your heart hurt by that fear. When I think about the wars that are going on and our soldiers who are serving overseas, and I worry about them. And then you look at the stock market, and it's doing crazy things right now too. It's going up and down, and then retirements. What does that mean for our finances? What does that mean for our jobs? Am I doing enough at work? Am I gonna have that job by the end of the week? And then politics. Always politics. And it's getting, I saw some of you roll your eyes. It's exactly how I feel. Like we hear it day in, day out. And each day, it gets worse. And concerns for our politicians and our leaders of this country. And then thinking about education for our kids, our grandkids. Are we going to be able to afford it? What kind of education are they getting? Are they getting a quality education right now? Are they learning about God? Can they even talk about God in their schools? Over and over, these thoughts, these pressures, these stresses are playing in our mind. And if I stay there too long, it's all consuming. And there's fear. And I'm not seeing a way out. I get this sense that I'm not alone in this. You're worrying about, are your kids going to be okay when you send them to school on Monday? Do I have enough in my bank account to cover my bills till my next paycheck? Do I have everything under control? Is there anything else that I can that I can control, that I can take care of to maybe give me some sense of peace? All of this continuing to weigh on our minds. But at the root of all of these, I come back to, am I enough? When I look at all these fears, when I see what's going on in the world, those aren't what keep me up at night. When I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep and my mind won't stop racing, it keeps coming back to, am I enough? Does anybody see me? Is there any help? Is there any strength? How am I going to get up the next day? Am I enough? This is exactly what Isaiah addresses in 41:10. That fear that he said, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not anxiously look about you. I am your God. He's not talking about the fears of the world. He was right to do so. His world was falling apart as well. He was told, you guys are going to go into captivity. God laid it out. But this fear, what God is addressing here to Isaiah, this is the part of the book that begins to get into the message of hope. So the first 39 chapters is full of gloom. And then comes this message of hope, where God shows who he is and who he's gonna be despite all of these troubles, all of these fears, all of these stresses that we have. Do not fear. I am with you. Do not anxiously look about. I am your God. I will give you strength. I will help you. And surely I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Or as the Message Bible says, I will keep you steady in a firm grip on you. When you're in those moments of fear, the thing that I want the most is a giant bear hug. So tight that I feel secure. And this is what God is saying that he's going to do. He's saying, I will have this firm grip on you. I have you in my right hand right now. You are here. I am with you. And he tells us, he doesn't just tell us not to fear. He tells us why we don't need to fear. And we don't have to guess about how it's going to come, but the verse clearly spells out for us. I am with you, I will give you strength, and I have a hold of you. I am with you, I will give you strength, and I have a hold of you. This week has been a tough week for me. The semester is picking up very quickly. Midterms are beginning, papers are beginning, presentations, and Tuesday night I'm sitting there with my planner open, thinking about all the things that I have to do. My mind is racing, and as soon as I think, okay, I have in my mind everything I need to do, something else pops up. And it hit me like a big yellow school bus going over 30 miles per hour over the speed limit. It's just like gut-wrenching. And it just kept coming. I have these papers due. I have to be in the school to do observations. I need to prepare the sermon. My job. I have no money. I really need money. I have no gas in my car. My brother, is he okay? My sister, she's looking for work. And Valentine's Day, Wednesday. What a great reminder that I am single. Thank you for that one. It just like kept going and going and going. And I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and it just hit me. And I just burst with tears flowing down my face. And I just stood there, and I could not stop thinking. And these tears are like drenched my face. I can't wipe them off because my hands are all wet. Everything inside of me is aching. Then I hear, or I get this sense, very small whisper, I'm with you. Then a little louder, I'm with you. Then, so I could not even ignore, he says, I am with you. I am here. I want to help you. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to see that you have the strength to do it another day. I'll provide that. I am with you. This, instead of stopping my tears, made them flow even more and even harder, and I just began to shake. And I answered God, I said, that's nice, but I want you here. I want your physical presence here. I know you are here, but I want to feel you here. I want that bear hug from you that I can just fall into your arms and cry even harder and harder so there are no more tears. And I hear, I want that too. I want to be with you right now just as much, if not more, than you want it. I desperately want to be with you. I want to stand in the bathroom of all places with you and give you this comfort. But for now, I have peace. I have peace for you. I have assurance. And you don't have to do it on your own. And by the way, I have examples for you. You don't have to wonder how it's going to happen or if others have felt this way and made it through or not. The Bible gives us so many examples of people, of these great characters, these heroes that we look up to. When they feel fear, what does God tell them? Fear not. Do not be discouraged. Do not be dismayed. Have strength and be courageous. I am with you. I will finish this for you. I am here along the way. Today I was reminded of a great example in Sabbath school with the teens. When Nebuchadnezzar received that dream, and he didn't know what it was, and the magicians couldn't tell him, what did Nebuchadnezzar say that was going to happen to them? I'll tear you from limb to limb. Or what was the other one? I'll chop you into tiny pieces and make your house a dung hut. Now, if anybody had a moment or a right to fear, Daniel was there. He had the right to fear because he was one of these that was going to be executed or torn limb to limb. What does he do? He turns to prayer. He turns to God with that fear. He doesn't let that fear consume him because he has a trust in God. We have Joshua who's preparing to lead the Israelites after Moses, this great leader. And now you have 2 million people that you're responsible for to get them to this promised land that they've been working for, been building their characters for, and they're going to go conquer all these other people. That would cause me to fear. That would cause me to question, am I enough? Joshua was asking himself, God, why did you pick me? Am I enough? God says, be strong and courageous. I got this. We have Solomon building a temple. And God says, don't worry. I'll help you finish this project. This is mine. I've called you to help me in it, but I didn't leave you alone with it. We have Stephen who's testifying, being threatened to be stoned. A moment rightfully to be scared of and be full of fear. But he turns to God and he testifies of his magnificent power. And how does he do it? He looks back to the Old Testament for those examples. He talks about Abraham and Moses, and he doesn't try to do it all on his own. He looks to the examples that God has given him. The same thing we can do. We can look back to the examples. We can look back to the examples in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. We can also look back to the examples in our own lives. He gives us situations that we can fear or we can have peace. He said, "Are you questioning me? That's okay. People have questioned me before, and I will give you peace. Do not fear." Those moments when you feel like you're out of control and fear is all that we're seeing, are we alone in feeling those? No. At the darkest moment in our history of this earth, we're at the beginning of this season, when Christ was suffering in the garden, do you think he didn't have fear? We're told in Luke 22, through reading his words, we can see that there was fear in them. Luke 22:39. And he came out and proceeded, as his custom, to the Mount of Olives. And the disciples followed him. And when they arrived at the place, he said to them, "Pray, that you may not enter into temptation." And he withdrew from them to a stone throw, and he knelt down, and he begged God. He prayed. He said, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me." Remove this cup from me. Sounds like a fear statement to me. A little bit of worry about what's going to happen. Then, the next line. "Yet not my will, but yours be done." Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. God, you see these fears that I'm having right now. You understand this sense of gloom and the situation that I'm walking into. You've told me it's going to come. But right now, it's all consuming. It's all I can see. But despite all this, what your will, not mine. I'll face these fears because you're with me. Because you're going to give me the strength to go through these next couple days. Amen. And even if I don't see the path, because I'm consumed by the guilt of this world right now, I will trust that you have the path and you have the way, and I will go. And immediately after that, verse 43, an angel from heaven appeared to him, strengthening him. Maybe it was his moment of, I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. And he sends that angel. And he answers Christ's fear with strength, with help, holding him in his righteous right hand. So what are we going to do in those moments? Are we going to believe and turn to our fear? Or are we going to turn to God? Are we going to turn to the one who calls his name, I am? When we're asking ourselves, am I enough? How are we going to answer that? Are we going to turn back to our fears and our worries and our stresses? Are we going to be overwhelmed? Are we going to reflect on our mistakes from the previous week? Are we going to ruminate on those words that we said out of anger and desperately wish we could take back? Are we going to humble ourselves before our fellow community? And what will that mean? Will they accept us back? Are we going to put in protections around us to try to answer those fears? Are we going to distract ourselves by watching another series on Netflix? What are we going to do? What are we going to turn to in those moments? Are we going to turn to our fear and let it consume us and let that be the answer to am I enough? Because that's not going to fill you. That's not going to answer that question, am I enough? But God, He is. He is I am. I am enough. But how are we going to do that? For me, I find it very hard when those thoughts start coming. They start ruminating in my head and I start going back over and over in the situation. I can tell myself, just stop fearing. It's that easy, right? No, it's not. And then as soon as you have a pause, the news comes on or another thing happens and your fears are, your thoughts are directly taken away once again. They're taken away from this promise of do not fear, for I am with you. Do not anxiously look about, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Surely I will help you. Surely you are in my righteous right hand. But then pops another news thing. How are we going to answer that? What are we going to do? For me, I put a promise on my phone, on my screensaver, with a verse. That every time I start thinking those fear thoughts, start questioning, am I enough? I look to that verse. So right now I have this verse, do not fear, for I am with you, on the front of my phone. And a second verse, as the background of my home screen, remind me of another promise of hope, of an issue that I'm dealing with. For some of you, it may be music. Finding that song that refocuses you onto the promises of God. Showing you that fear is a liar. Fear is false. And we don't need to turn to it. We have the strength because God gives us the strength. Others of you, it could be looking at a painting. Or putting a picture up on your mirror that reminds you of the peace that God gives you. Reminds you of the strength that He gives you to accomplish the activities that you have that day. What will it be for you? What will turn your thoughts back from the stresses of this world to God? To the Lord who says, I am, and I am with you. I am strength, and I am righteous. And what is it going to look like when we turn those thoughts to Him? How is this going to change our lives? What impact is this going to be? What would the church look like if fear completely disappeared and was replaced by God's faith? Faith in God and His strength and His abilities. How would this place be transformed? What calls to ministry would you answer if you had no fears of what would happen? What relationships would you start up? What conversations would you start up if you weren't questioning, am I enough? But you put your faith in, I am your strength, your help, the one who is holding you. What will be your step? what will change in your life? Pray with me. God, help us not to fear. Help us to put our trust fully in you. Open our eyes to the everyday miracles that you provide for us. Open our eyes to the things in our past that can testify of the faith and the strength and the help that you have given us. I thank you now for being that peace that consumes us, that answers the question, am I enough? With your peace and with your protection and with your righteous right hand. May we not lose sight of that. May we take that to others. In your holy name, amen.